Hello everyone, welcome to the series on Gen AI applications development using Amazon Bedrock service. I am the instructor of this series, Ankit Jain. I am having more than 17 years of IT implementation experience. I do have in-depth knowledge on AWS and Azure cloud services and Terraform. I endeavor to leverage on the latest technologies to deliver the learning material through digital resources. So let's get started. This session is an introductory session of this series, and I promise you to share all my knowledge around Amazon Bedrock gradually in upcoming sessions. The folks who are not aware of Amazon Bedrock, let me tell you, it is fully managed service that offers the GenAI capabilities that you can leverage building GenAI applications. I say it is a one-stop platform where you will have access to different foundation models from leading AI organizations like AI 21 Labs, Anthropic, Meta, and Amazon itself, where we do have Amazon Titan model. The beauty of Amazon Bedrock service is that you can create your own custom model on top of these base models to make the application more effective and efficient. What it does behind the scene, uh, when you intend to create a custom model, it creates a private copy for you, which you can train with your own data using techniques like fine tuning, retrieval augmented generation. With that custom model, basically you create a knowledge base, and that is the source of your data for generating responses on your inputs. You can also create agents that executes tasks using your own data sources, of course, which is known as knowledge base as well. Another good thing is that it is serverless in nature, so you don't need to manage the infrastructure. While you can build the applications with security, responsible AI concepts all in place. Okay, so I'll be using Python programming language to demonstrate how you can utilize Amazon Bedrock service in your projects. So as I said, this is very introductory session. So I'll be only demonstrating how to utilize this service using Python. Boto 3 library, because this is basically a library as a Python plugin to interact with AWS services. But with Python also, we do have two options. Either we utilize pip, or we can go with the poetry to manage the dependencies. uh, pip is generally best for small projects where we do have less dependency to manage. But if you are working in an enterprise project where we have to manage multiple dependencies, poetry is the best option. So let me open the terminal, and if you don't have the poetry installed on your system, you can simply install it with the command python 3m pip install poetry. I already have that installed, so it has given me a prompt that requirements are already satisfied and we don't need to install or update anything else. Okay, now I'll simply go to the folder. I have already created a Bedrock specific folder where I'll do all the practical setups. So with poetry, we first need to initialize that project so that it can bring that compatibility, and you can utilizing it with poetry based dependency management system. And that is something where you can do with this command poetry init. As you are already in a project folder Bedrock, you don't need to give that package name. If you want to give a different name, you can give it. With all these default inputs, you can tell the poetry template to create the project accordingly. So if I'll give okay, escape, yes, and you see uh, this poetry init command will generate a file for you having all these details added. I'll show you in the Visual Studio Code. So it has generated the pyproject.2ml, and you see this is the same content which was displayed in the command print is basically a part of this file. And what it is saying, these are the basic configurations and these are the dependencies currently being used in this project. Okay. Now, as we need to talk to AWS Bedrock service, we need Boto3 library to be added here. But before that, very important thing is to create a virtual environment. Why virtual environment creation is recommended here? So if you will directly go with adding this dependencies over and to install this poetry again, it will basically bring those dependency in your system globally, which is not recommended. Let's take an example. You are working on multiple projects and you are not creating any virtual environment. The dependencies that which are there in different projects will directly be installed on your system and can bring some conflicts. So it is always recommended to create a virtual environment first and do everything regarding that project into that virtual environment only. So what I will do, I will create one for this project now, and the command for this is python 3 -mv and the virtual environment name. If you don't have virtual environment set up, you can simply utilize the same command python 3 -m pip install and then venv. It will configure virtual environment on your system, and then using this command you can create a new virtual environment, which I am creating using the name .venv. Once it is created, we need to activate that environment. So if you see, we do have a folder here .venv as well. You can see it in Visual Studio Code also. It has populated some folders with some libraries, and this is basically the file that you can use to activate this environment, which will basically bring you into that environment. Okay, and for that we do have a command. This is a Mac specific command. If you're on Windows, a similar kind of structure is there, but in that case you have to use activate.batch file there. So I'll run this command, and if you see, we are now into the virtual environment depicted by .venv. Okay, now next thing is we need to add Boto3 library. So either you can define it here and then use the poetry install, or you can directly as poetry add Boto3. I'm not adding a specific version number here, and if I am not doing that, it will bring the most recent released version from the package manager, from the package repositories. So if I'll do this, it will not only add this dependency in your 2ml file, but will also install in your environment, and that goes into the lib folder. So currently if you see, we do have only let me also include, okay, we do have only pip details over here, but as soon as it is done, it will bring those dependency into these virtual environment. I'll show you once it is done. So it has started installing the transitive dependency as well as part of Boto3. Okay, so if you see in the library folder, now we do have Boto3, Botocore, all these respective dependencies as well. And similarly, this pyproject.2ml is also updated with that particular dependency. Okay, so prerequisites are done. Let me quickly create a file main.py here, where we will write the code for interacting with Amazon Bedrock service. Before that, I can also give you a instruction for setting up the profile, because when you talk to AWS service, you need to pass the credentials. So either you can go with the secret key and access keys details in the code, but which is not recommended. You need to basically configure profile on your local system using AWS configure command. I have already done that, so I'm just skipping that step. I'm directly writing the code. So I need to first import Boto3, and then I need to create a session so that I can talk to the Bedrock service. So session is equal to using the Boto3 library with the method session, and as I said, I have already configured a profile, so I will use that profile now. And once the session is the code for session is written, I need to write a code for creating the Bedrock client. So let me initialize a variable Bedrock client, and I will use session instance client method, and then I will define Bedrock service name. So once once the client will be created, uh, we need to see what all models Amazon Bedrock is providing currently. So I'll just create a method, variable model list, and I will use this variable to store the response from the API, uh, the method, because we are not using API here, we are using SDK. Okay, so I'll use the method list foundation models. Okay, let me quickly run this code and show you what output I am getting back. Okay, I am running a Python file in terminal. uh, okay, so it is not taking that profile. Okay, I think I have given the wrong thing here. Okay, it's a profile name. Okay, let me run this command again, and you see the response. Let me beautify that response. So for that I will use import JSON, and I will just use the json.dumps method, and I'll be defining indent here. Okay, now let me clear this response first here and then run this command again. Okay, my bad. So you see it has given me a JSON structured response now and this is having all the details of the model that Amazon Bedrock supports as of the date. So the first key is the response metadata, and the second key is basically the focus area for us, where we do have all the models. Okay, let me show you how many models we do have. So let me initialize a variable counts, and let me take the input models list, and I will use this particular key value. Okay, and then let me print it, f total models, and I will use count. Okay, let me clear the response and rerun this file. So you will see how many models Amazon Bedrock is currently supporting, and it comes as 45. Let me quickly brief about those models also. I mean, just explore those that output. So you see that it has the model errand and it has the model ID. So when we will deal with these models, we'll pass some prompts getting the response back. At that time, this model ID will be used. In the upcoming lessons, you will see how we will do this, but just for reference, this model ID will be required at that moment. It also gives a provider name, an indication of a detail of the provider. So if you see, this is Amazon provided model. Similarly, if you will scroll down, we will have some models like Cohere here, and similarly we do have Anthropic model name is Claude. It also have the details like what are input and output modularities. It also gives a detail whether streaming based response is supported with this model. So if it is true, then we can get the responses using streams. It also gives a method of which is supported for inference. So when we will create the inference endpoints, it gives it you can use different ways, like it could be on demand or it could be provisioned. So couple of model, if you, yeah, here it is. So this particular Anthropic Claude model supports provisioned, while the other one which we saw, it was more of on demand for the embedding one. Yeah. uh, yeah, so that was basically the outcome I have targeted for this session. I hope you have a better idea now how to talk to the Amazon Bedrock service. And then in upcoming lessons, we will pick these models and we'll show you how to use those models for building some, and we'll show you how to generate the responses using these models based on your input that you will pass. That's it for this session. Thank you, everyone. If you have liked the video, please subscribe my channel and be and stay tuned for my upcoming lessons. Thank you.